Welcome to the channel, everyone. Happy Friday. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video. We got the guaranteed epic champion from Void Shards, and it's no one else but Akemtum. Now, if you have 30 Void Shards available, you're gonna be able to put your hand on this bad boy. The real question is this champion worth it 30 Void Shards? Let me just put it like this for you. If you guys have 30 shards available, and you think that this champion will benefit your account in any way whatsoever, so keep an eye on what I'm about to show you in this video, what Akemtum can actually do, then the champion is worth it. If you don't have many shards and you are kind of like worried for the next fusion that most probably will start next week, then I would say maybe don't get Akemtum unless you think that he will really change something on your account. Now, all around, Akemtum is a very unique champion, right? He definitely allows you to do some very creative combos. With the A1, attacks one enemy 3 times, has a chance to land the poison. If the target is under a hex debuff, he takes a random debuff and spreads it to all the enemies. Now, I do think that this is one of the best debuff spread champions in the entire game. With the A2, attacks all enemies 3 times, has a chance to increase the duration of hex. If by any chance you don't have hex on the targets, he will actually have a chance to land hex instead. That's very, very nice. Now, what makes this champion very unique is the passive. Has a 100% chance, fully booked, of inflicting damage from one poison debuff to enemies under a hex debuff whenever their ally receives damage from poison debuffs. This is extremely, extremely powerful, especially in content like Spider hard mode, where hex and these sort of things become more relevant than the older content, for example. You do have a speed aura for all battles, and of course poisons are definitely great. Like, this champion is tons of fun in Hydra, tons of fun in Clan Boss if you don't really have anyone else more powerful than him, and you can definitely do a lot of other crazy things in the game with him. But I'm gonna show you a couple of different things that only Akemtum can do in Raid Shadow Legends. Then towards the end of the video, I'm gonna share with you guys the build, I'm gonna share with you guys the masteries, and everything else that we need to know about Akemtum. That being said, let's head over to the Spider Dungeon. We're using Mitrala, you can get the champion from the Hydra Clan Boss. We're using Dark Kale, you can get him from the Doom Tower. We're using Newt, was the previous fusion, the current fusion, which just ended a few days ago. And we have Renegade, which is a rare champion. You can only summon her, basically. So we do have a bit of a preset. As you may notice, my champions are fast enough. But you want to have everyone over 250 speed, except Renegade, who needs to be slower. So the boss needs to take a turn before Renegade. If not, you're going to have some issues there. But if you are struggling with the speeds, just use Akemtum as lead and you're gonna gain 18% more speed, okay? So keep that in mind. If I'm gonna do that, my champions are going to be a bit too fast. So basically the preset. So we have Mitrala, she's going to open with the A2, and that's gonna be her priority, just to put the hex. You can use somebody else instead of Mitrala, like Veldrax, for example, who's another epic champion from the Demon Spawn faction, was a fusion a couple of years ago or so. Then we have Nut, who is the fastest champion in my team at 266 speed. Basically, you need them to be over 250. It doesn't matter if it's a 255, 254, 243. It doesn't matter that, you know, it just follow the right order. So he's the fastest champion in the team. I want him to go and open with the A3 and bring down the last 2 spiderlings. Then we have Mitrala going in with the hex. Then we have Dark Kale going in with the poison sensitivity and poisons on the Spider Queen. Then you have Akemtum going in with the A1, spreading debuffs just in case if any of the Spiderlings maybe didn't got the right debuffs on. And after the boss will take a turn, you're gonna have Renegade just opening with the A3 to reset the cooldowns on Mitrala so she can use the A2 again. But basically, let me show you how this is done. This is actually a very, very efficient team. It's a 100% win rate and is 100% consistent on 11 turns. So for the next tournament where you need to do a spider team that has a very low turn count, this will be a very, very solid team for you. You see, we have all those poisons, and you've seen all that damage that the Spider Queen just got. That's all because of Akemtum's passive, guys. Is that one poison damage on enemies under hex that deal enough damage from the Spider Queen on the Spiderlings to kill them, okay? So basically, this team is always consistent on 11 turns, 28 seconds. Basically, Nut drops all that damage at the beginning, triple enemy max HP. Then you have Akemtum with the passive dropping over 50% of the Spider Queen's HP, or very close to 50% HP, and that's all because of his passive and the Hex interaction. This is the only champion in the game that can do this crazy thing, and it's a lot of fun, honestly. Like, just seeing the Spider Queen dropping so much HP is amazing. And then you have Dark Kale coming in and cleaning whatever is left after Mithrala lands that Hex again. It's very important to have that Hex on again, basically, you know. But check that out again, you see, poison sensitivity, poisons landed. Look how much HP we actually dropped on the Spider Queen. It's just crazy. Just crazy to see that happening. Then, of course, we are getting the Hex, which will make our champions to deal more damage right here. We have that weaken and bang again, 11 turns, 28 seconds. Pretty nice team. And then you have Akemtum with 3.7 million damage. You have Nut with 5.3, but then he does do around the same amount like Akemtum on the very first hit. But then you have Dark Kale, who takes in a lot of damage as well, you know, because he's the one that comes in and does the cleanup at the end, you know. It's definitely a pretty solid team. Like, Nut, he definitely enables a lot of things, and pairing him together with Akemtum in here is definitely tons and tons of fun. Like, if you don't have any of the big boy champions, for example, like Theodore, you don't have other champions that drop in a lot of solid damage on the Spider Queen, and your team might not be as efficient as you're seeing it right here, this is actually a very solid team for all the tournaments, especially if you are struggling with that. So we got 12 turns in here, and that's mainly because Akemtum is on a Relentless set and he just went a bit too crazy. So it's not something that you need to do to have him on Relentless for this thing. That being said, you've seen how the spider thing works. I'm gonna show you the stats that we have on the champions before we move over to the next thing, just to make sure you have everything organized and you can pick the builds for the champions and everything that you need. So this is Mithrala. She's on a shield set. How I mentioned, you can use a Vildrax instead. Mithrala is not a necessity in the team. Vildrax is this champion right here. Let me just quickly show you the champion, because some of you guys might not understand my my beautiful accent. So Vildrax right here, guys, can do pretty much the same job. You see, he has a chance to land Hex as well. So basically, that's what you need from Mithrala or Vildrax, to put the Hex so you can actually interact with Akemtum's passive. Or you can have Akemtum to go in and do the Hex directly, and you don't even need Mithrala or him, basically. You can do that as well. The only thing is that you're gonna need to have a different champion in there to kind of like get the sleep, you know? You can do it maybe with a fodder, but you need to put somebody on a shield set, and I can't really think of who will have a decent HP to keep everybody up and running on a shield set. That could be a different option, but we're gonna leave that for another time. So these are the stats on Mithrala. Basically, you want to have some HP, you want to have the speed. So how I mentioned, over 250 speed, she needs to be the second fastest. Now this is my Nut right here. You don't need to have him on Savage, that's fine. This is the build that I had for the Fire Knight, if you guys remember, that I showed you in the previous video. But basically, look at the speed. 266 speed, so he needs to be the fastest champion in the team, over 250 speed. And accuracy doesn't matter on him if you only use him here, but he's such a good champion that will be a waste to only use him in the Spider and don't make the most with him in the Fire Knight and other content where he actually shines. Now, in terms of masteries for Mithrala, sorry, I have defense and support. I have Arena Masteries, I don't have War Master. On Nut, I actually have Giant Slayer as tier 6. We have support masteries right here. Dark Kale actually has a mixed sets, so he used to be on a regeneration, but I had to change a bit the build on him, and I just gave him speed and accuracy, basically. That's what he needs for this. And we have 36k HP, 3k defense, 260 speed, so you see, he is the third fastest in the team. And we have 378 accuracy. Masteries, we have offense and support 3, War Master as tier 6, and then of course you have Akemtum. Now he's on Relentless. This build is going to take him in Hydra Clan Boss, just to kind of like compare him with enemy max HP nukers, just so you guys get to see a bit of a difference. And total stats on him, 39k HP, 4.3k attack, 2.3k defense, 258 speed, full crit rate, 208 crit damage, and 339 accuracy. I will lower a bit the speed once I'm gonna go into Hydra, just because he is a bit fast compared to the other champions that we're going to use. And then Renegade, she's just built on a speed set and built on a crit damage set. It's just a random build that I tried to use in the Fire Knight. I just lowered the speed basically. She needs to be slower than the Spider Queen. So the Spider Queen needs to take a turn after she took all the damage, and only then Renegade can go. If Renegade goes before, she's gonna bring in 2 Spiderlings, and the Spider Queen is gonna heal when she's taking the turn. So that's something that you wanna avoid. But Masteries on her, there we go. Masteries on Akemtum, Giant Slayer, and support. I can't remember if I actually showed you the Masteries. But let's move over to Hydra Clan Boss. So we're gonna do Nightmare Hydra Clan Boss, guys, and this is the team that we're using. I wanna mention that Akemtum, Husk, and Acrisia, all 3 of them are built in Relentless. All 3 of them, they have very similar stats. Now, of course, there are a couple of cons with Akemtum because he is squishier than the other champions, and you will have to focus on some survivability, and that might cost you a bit on damage. For example, I have less crit damage than I have on the other ones, and that's mainly because I gave him an HP amulet instead of a crit damage one, just to raise up the HP. Then you need to have the accuracy to make sure you're landing the debuffs on the Head of Suffering too. 257 speed, full crit rate, 208 crit damage. Acrisia, 257 speed, full crit rate, 248 crit damage. I'm not giving her accuracy. Then I have Husk, 253 speed, full crit rate, 235 crit damage, 344 accuracy. So I want to make sure he actually lands the provoke. But that being said, let's crack on it and see, as an idea, what sort of damage we're gonna get from Akemtum compared with Acrisia, compared with Husk. Like, don't even dream about it. Of course, he's not gonna be anywhere near Acrisia, but as an idea, you're gonna kind of like get to see, okay, so this champion might benefit in Hydra. You never know, like, if you are struggling with the DPS there, this will actually potentially be a pretty good good champion for you in there, you know. So hopefully we're gonna land that provoke with Husk on the Head of Suffering there. Luckily we gain an extra turn, so there we go. Relentless. That's why I like Relentless over Reflex. We still didn't land the provoke, but we had an extra chance to do it. If I would just have a Reflex set, for example, I wouldn't have that extra turn, that extra chance to land the debuff, that extra chance to deal the damage. It is a lower chance for it to proc, and some of you guys might argue and say that, no, Skratch, we do prefer a Reflex over a Relentless, but my opinion, for Hydra Clan Boss, Relentless is the #1 set all around on your DPS champions. If you want to throw big numbers, if you want to have the run more successful, making it easier, better on auto and stuff, you know. So that's kind of like what we're gonna check out. Now, a bit late to land that provoke now, Husk, don't you think so? Even if you were landing it in there. But basically, he spreads the hacks on everybody. So if we want to target the Head of Mischief, for example, we're going to be able to do it now because of Akemtum. The Head of Mischief, as the name suggests, is very, very annoying. Like, he's going to end up in devouring your champions, and you won't be able to touch it if you don't have the right champions in the team, and that can cause you quite a few issues, you know. But with Akemtum, having the hacks on is great. Spreading the debuffs, because he doesn't necessarily spread just poisons, you know, like, he can spread any debuff, like defense down, decrease attack, block buffs. So that can be very, very nice with Akemtum. And he has a triple hit in there. There we go, you see? Who devoured our champion? No one else but the Head of Mischief. And the problem right now is that he is Spirit Affinity. Husk is a Force Affinity, so we are weak Affinity with him. But we are relying preferably on Akemtum to go in and do a bit of work, you know? So that's what we're gonna try to do right now, because we're getting quite a few weak hits with Husk. It's always happening, you know. Okay, there we go. Triple hitter, pretty decent damage. And hacks, of course, it will help us to generate more damage on the heads, especially when they're dead and we're throwing in big numbers with single target champions or anything like that. You see, because of the hacks, we were able to target that head, and easy peasy. Let's actually back out of the run and see the total damage. So 36.77 million damage. We have Akemtum with 6.8 million damage. We have Akrisia with 20.9. I've told you she's kind of like on a different level. And then you have Husk with 7.6 million damage. Husk does bring utility as well. It brings the provoke, which is great. Akemtum does bring the Hex, which is definitely very important for Hydra if you want to have everything running nice and smooth. And 6.8 million damage, which is actually pretty good. Let's move over to the clan boss and see what Akemtum can do in there. Now, talking about clan boss, guys, he would be a very good champion for the mid-Fu comp, for example. So you could use him in the mid-Fu instead of a Fushan, for example, if you don't have that available. Fushan does have a 24% speed lead, while he only has 18%, so you're gonna have to adjust a bit the speeds on your mid-Fu comp just by adding the additional 6% speed on your champions. But basically, you would be able to use him in there and get some pretty decent results with him too. Now, I don't actually have a mid-Fu comp built around, so let's just use a random team basically. So we're gonna use Martyr, we're gonna have that defense up from her, we're gonna have the counter attack, then we're gonna use... So I don't have a champion to give me a shield at the moment that's built, I think. I could use Marichka actually, but yeah, let's just put her in for the shield. So we're just gonna get Marichka in for the shield, guys. Let's just chuck in a cleanser, better than a Marichka. So let's just put in Cardial for that and another DPS. We're just kind of gonna look a bit at the damage. That's about it, you know. He's not really gonna hit very hard. Now, I don't have another poisoner in the team, how you guys probably noticed. So we're gonna see how he actually performs with the poisons from his own kit, basically, you know. Look at Newt bringing in serious damage. Man, such a good fusion. Such a good fusion. And it's such a shame that so many people actually missed it because of a rare champion or something. You know, it's just crazy. I feel like they definitely didn't lock it behind a massive paywall as they would do usually, you know, because sometimes they are doing it. You see, the raw damage is not crazy. 18k, nothing too amazing. But look at the poisons. We're actually getting a pretty good amount of poisons through. We do have a counter attack. We do have an ally attack in here to give us extra chances to land those poisons. But it's actually pretty good, you know. And then the only thing missing at the moment, unfortunately, is the Hex, because we landed too many poisons. But once we're going to be able to land the Hex as well, hopefully he won't use the skill right now, even though I have a feeling he will use it now. We're actually going to be able to... There we go. We're going to be able to spread poisons on the boss himself. Plus, what's going to happen is that his passive is going to tick every time we have a Hex on, you know. So basically, the clan boss will get damage from a poison when the Hex is on. So there we go. We managed to land the Hex. Beautiful. And he's up for 5 turns. From here on, he's going to extend it. So we should be more than fine with the Hex. That's not going to fall off from the boss. And slowly, we are bringing in a bit of extra damage. Now, the Hex itself is not something that will benefit you on the clan boss, okay? So you need to have a lot of other enemies in here to actually make use of it. But it's mainly good because it activates Akemtum's passive, you know? And a poison tick will drop down all the time on the boss, bringing in a bit of extra damage. There we go, increases the duration. And I'm only gonna go another couple of minutes, guys, just so you guys can actually get an idea of what sort of damage he will bring in. But so far, we're actually looking pretty good at 12 million damage. Of course, Newt dropping in like 600-700k damage whenever he's using the A3 helps a lot. Having the counter attack, the ally attack, definitely very good. Having all the right deep, look at that. My god, that was a million. That was a million with his A3. Newt, you beast. You are a freaking beast. Look at the A1, you see? It's basically bringing around 60k damage. If a Giant Slayer proc, that's nice, of course. But if it doesn't, it's not really gonna make a massive difference, you know? Okay, we're gonna stop at boss turn count 10. And we're gonna be able to kind of like get an idea of what damage we're getting. But we're not looking bad at all, man. Like, look at that. We're at turn 7. We have over 2 million per turn. We're almost at 3 million. So over 2.5 million per turn, which is very nice. Considering that I haven't brought any of the big boy hitters. I mean, Newt is a big boy hitter. Definitely, he's a big boy hitter now. Even his A1 actually deals pretty good damage. 150k with a Giant Slayer as well when it procs. That brings in quite a bit of damage. Look at Akemtum dropping in with the Giant Slayer too, bringing in some extra numbers for us there. And there we go, 279, 305, 264. We didn't have weakened this time around on, okay? So that was a bit of a less damage, basically. Increases the debuff duration, debuff spread, nice. Akemtum getting the stun, so we're gonna go for one more turn and we're gonna back out of here. It's definitely 2.5 million per turn, actually. We got the weaken, back up and running, increases the duration of debuffs. Debuff spread in there, even though it's not really much that he can spread because the poison bar is full on the clan boss, you know, the debuff bar. Getting the defense down, a few poisons in there. Nothing to spread around though, nothing to spread around. I don't know why I remember that he was actually spreading poisons on the boss, but it seems like he's not. I think I remembered that wrong for whatever reason. So he's not actually taking a poison and putting it on the same target. It doesn't really make sense just by reading the kit. It shouldn't work like that, but for whatever reason I remember that it did. So let's back out. Turn 11, and we managed to get 27.28 million damage. And we have Martyr with 5.6. Martyr, she's built for damage. I'm going to show you the build in a second. Akemtum 7.3 million damage. We have Cardiel with 5, and we have Newt with 9.6. Is actually not such a massive difference from Akemtum to Newt in terms of damage. So that should actually tell you something, right? So let's actually go right here, check the stats. So this is my Martyr, Savage Martyr, pretty strong, right? 5k defense, 255 speed, 250 crit damage. So yeah, she smacks pretty hard. That's why she dealt so much damage. Cardiel, decent build in terms of damage. Forget the speed, I'm talking about the damage. Full crit, 185 crit damage, 4.5k attack, so pretty good. Then we have Newt on Savage with 266 speed. You've seen the stats already on him, 248 crit damage. And then Akemtum, you've seen the build already, 200 crit damage. So he's actually pretty strong. Now, hopefully you found this video helpful, guys, and it kind of like helped you out to decide if it's worth it for you to go and get the guaranteed champion or no, if you have the shards. That was all for this video. Much love, appreciate every single one of you guys watching, and I'll catch you all soon in the next video. Peace.